Welcome to the Lovin Dubai Before Brunch podcast. I'm Caitlyn.
I'm Casey.
And we're talking anything and everything going on in Dubai.
And we're with you every Friday morning in the beautiful hour before brunch begins.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to you and welcome back, Casey.
Thank you, Caitlyn. I missed you guys.
Oh, we missed you too.
Well, I listened to the podcast. It was very informative about football. Did you enjoy it doing it with Richard?
Oh, yes. I learned so much about football, but I am so glad you're back for a few reasons. One of which is some really interesting kind of feminist comments, which we'll talk about shortly.
That's why you're excited I'm back to talk about feminist comments?
Obviously.
Okay.
So, makeup. Apparently, we talk about makeup a lot.
Well, I mean, it's something that we apply every day. So I feel like it's
very involved.
Very involved. And when you walk past makeup shops, you're thinking about it. Maybe it's too much on my mind. I don't know.
Maybe it's both our minds, but I feel like it's on most of our listeners' minds.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay though.
Talking about something a bit more serious today, we're talking about the news story regarding the Qatar Airways boss. Now, have you seen this, Casey?
This is just bang your head against the wall. Did he actually say that? Repeat, rewind and watch again, because I can't believe these comments came out of his mouth.
I am sure there was a comms team from somewhere as soon as he said that, just banging their heads against a wall.
Exactly. Just as a recap, if you missed it, so it happened on Tuesday in Sydney, and it was at an annual airline conference, the International Air Transport Association, and actually the point of this conference was to improve diversity in the airline industry. And what he said was, how will the IATA, which is the Transport Association, how will they tackle the problem of gender inequality? And drumroll for this answer of the century is he said, of course, it has to be led by a man because it is a very challenging position.
What an idiot.
Let it sink in.
I can't even dress that up. So there's so many issues with this.
Mm-hmm.
One being he's so egotistical that he thinks that his job is the most challenging in the world when we have women prime ministers, presidents, CEOs, MDs.
The list is endless. The sectors are varied. Yep.
Yeah, and they're all doing their jobs that are, I'm pretty sure they're quite challenging as well. So why does he think his job is specific to a man? It's
just the most antiquated, silly, and like you're trying to get into his head, and there's no way to. He has apologized. We should say that he has since apologized and come out and said that it doesn't reflect the roles of women in Qatar Airways. But you just can't get beyond that, I don't think. It's one of those things where they say a throwaway statement and then spend the next 6 months backpedaling and trying to figure out a way to spin it and make it sound okay. Yeah, but I will say this is not the first time he's made comments like that. What else has he said? So so first of all, I should say, if you go down through the Twitter of Qatar Airways, one of the recent pictures is the whole board, and there's, I'm not sure exactly, there's only like 2 or 3 women on a group of like 30 men. So that's telling, as it is, of the airline industry today. But then like 2017 in Dublin, he said, he was talking about the pros and cons of flying with Qatar versus American Airlines. And the first thing he said was, well, most of our airline cabin crew are 26 years old. So there got a bit of laughs and the crowd kind of encouraged him. And then he said, and if you fly with those crap American Airlines, you're flying with grandmas. And I don't know, like he just... What a number. Yeah, what's a number? Okay, number. Oh, what a number. Sorry, that was very Australian. But he's just, he just needs to shut up. He does just need to shut up. That's so, exactly. I'm trying to be nice, but no, there's no niceties here. This is inappropriate, particularly in this industry where it is a very male-dominated field and women work very hard to get to where they are. I have to shout out here to Emirates, who celebrate their female employees. International Women's Day each year, they do a great video. They've done a whole flight that was run entirely by women, so women crew all through flight, captain and first officer, even to the ground crew, all female. And they just celebrate
females in such an empowering way that I love. I love the videos, and they share it, and they're encouraging. And I don't think Tim Clark would ever say, Sir Tim Clark, excuse me, would ever say anything like that. I think.
Like, that's not even a question. And you're so right about Emirates kind of making the point, because obviously women are very as equally capable of men of all positions. So they made that point, and so many in this region we're taking so many steps forward with Saudi, when women are starting to drive, which is really, really cool. And Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia, he's made loads of progressive steps for women, and then this just kind of makes the region look bad.
It feels like an uphill battle, honestly. It's just getting to a point where women are, and I'm not ashamed to say it's just getting to that point. It's new, it's exciting, and there are some excellent females in leadership in this country, but there's still that kind of antiquated way of thinking, apparently, you know, and it's so infuriating as like females in management positions, because there's these statements. I'm trying not to swear because I'm so frustrated.
Let it out, man.
There's these boo-harky statements. One I really struggle with is when I'm passionate, I get called emotional. When my male counterparts are passionate, it's passion, and that's fine. And I see that throughout the field, and it's so, for him to do that is so infuriating, to discount and discredit all this work that women do in management positions.
Exactly. And what you said there is that we're getting to the point, or we're nearly at the point, but it's also, like you said, it's still an uphill struggle. So even though we have all these incredible women in business across politics, we're going to talk about Huda Beauty. So whatever role it is, women are bossing it. But for everyone on the ground level, it's still an uphill struggle. And you said there that, you know, sometimes if you're at work, it could be like if your outbursts are passionate about something, they'll say it's emotional. And I was chatting to a friend over the weekend, and she said that so it's time for a pay rise or something, and she's having that conversation, and she's very direct and very straightforward. She's amazing. But she says that she's nearly called a troublemaker within her work. And I know she's a very diligent worker. You know, I don't know if diligent is the right word, but like, you know, she's really good at her job. She really cares about the brand that she works with. But the fact that she's kind of pushing, and she questions money. So there's a bit of thing about pay rises and bonuses, and she questions everything. And she says that she's been labeled as a troublemaker. And genuinely, I don't think that would happen if she was a man.
I don't think it would either.
No, it would be looked at totally differently.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and I don't know whether people have objections to this. If you do, please do get in touch. But it does feel like that, and it is difficult, particularly in this region, with because you know the country's so young and the region's so young that changes are a bit late to the game. They're very early in terms of the country's development, but they are late from a global perspective.
Yeah, that's so true.
So it's great when you see these super women coming through and just kicking ass.
Yes.
So I guess that takes us on to our next topic. Huda Katan, one of our favourite beauty. Well, she's not even a blogger now. She's a mogul.
Oh, she's gone beyond.
Beauty mogul. Has announced that she'll be doing a reality TV series called Huda Boss. Now, this will be streamed on Facebook Watch.
Tell me about Facebook Watch.
It's basically Facebook's answer to Netflix. It's an on-demand streaming service for television shows. It's not quite Netflix, obviously, but it's Facebook's answer to that in terms of they're trying to get more video streaming on the platform. So Huda's one of the first in the region to appear on this platform.
First of all, amazing that they chose her, because, okay, we talk about makeup a lot and we love it, but it's still, it's niche, really. People who love like the Huda products, as in terms of anyone that they could have chosen in the region across so many sectors. So shout out to Huda for getting chosen. I think that's really cool. And do you know anyone else that's going to be on the show? Well,
it's going to be centered around her life and the Huda Beauty brand. So I imagine Nelia's famous sister Mona will be on it, the family will be on it, the business employees will be on it, and then it's an insight into her life, which I think is great because she's so personable on the camera, But we don't get enough of that. You're just getting kind of little bits and pieces on social media. So you really want to see what goes on in that office.
That's so true. You definitely do. And people, like, we're the generation that will sit and watch someone else's home life for hours, don't we?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no, but like you're looking at someone's stories, and then 20 minutes into it, you're like, am I literally just watching someone have dinner and eat food? Well, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. But when someone's so famous, and she is so famous right now, like she hobnobs with the Kardashians, when they open up a bit of their lives and show it more, I just hope that it's not too produced, because that's what I hate now. No one's looking at TV shows anymore. People are looking at the real stuff. So I want to see real. I want to see grit. I want to see drama. I want to know if the sisters get on all the time, because they look like they do. But I know my relationship with my sister can be a little bit like, so I want to see some of that.
You know that the drama tends to be the most produced stuff, right?
Stop ruining reality TV for me.
So I was actually, I'm going to do a little plug here. I was actually in a reality show in 2016, which was an insight into how these shows are made. So mine was about boxing.
Yeah, take us back to the start. We need to hear about this.
It's called Fighting Fit Dubai. It was called White Collar DXB at the time, but they've rebranded since. And it was a 8-week red team versus blue team, kind of like The Biggest Loser. But at the end of it, you had a boxing match. So they got, I think it was 24 white collar or just people who'd never boxed before. That was the only criteria. Put them in a gym and train them how to box in 8 weeks. And then at the end of the 8 weeks, put them in for a fight.
Okay.
But they introduced some drama within that in terms of team clashes, in terms of like, little spats and stuff. Don't get me wrong, it all happened.
Yeah.
But you could see them kind of pulling at the threads and milking it a little bit, and that seeing what they chose to focus on was really interesting.
Yeah, give us more information. So you say that there were spats. So in my head, I'm thinking of the reality shows that I loved, like The Hills. Loved it, and what felt to me like real life dramas. So I'm kind of comparing it with what you were in. So did they ask you to reshoot the little arguments, or how did it work?
It was more in the interviews. So when they'd shoot a disagreement, we'd sit and do a one-on-one interview, and they'd go, tell us why you were annoyed about that. And okay. And then they'd overlay that with a shot of that person like laying into the other person in the ring, just so it added that dramatic effect. It was so fun though, and it was great to see like the character development, but it just made me aware you do have to highlight characteristics to create characters and get the most interesting parts out of people. So now that I've seen that firsthand, when I watch these reality shows, I kind of go, oh, I wonder how they got her to say that. And, they overlay dramatic music and they add scenes, and it just...
And they add eye rolls where there were no eye rolls. Because obviously, if you're being... I don't know how many hours a day you're being filmed, but if you're being filmed X number of hours a day, you're going to have a certain number of faces that look like you're,
How many eye rolls do you do a day?
I look at so many eye roll gifs that I just like, sometimes when I'm writing and I'm trying to think of the right word, I like mimic that reaction in my face to come up.
Oh yeah, okay, fair.
Does that sound weird?
Yeah, but that kind of explains a lot about why you put weird faces all day in the office.
Or when we, Lovin is obviously known for putting a few gifs and emojis on the images. When I'm trying to come up with the right emoji, I'll do the emoji face.
Oh, okay, I do that. There's one where he's looking a bit annoyed and down and to the side.
Yeah.
I like doing that when I'm
Yeah.
pulling the face to you. Listeners can't see, but you know the emoji.
I know the emoji. That's a great put down. If someone says something stupid, just a sideways glance.
It's just, I don't even have the energy to respond to this right now.
Ugh. But on the subject of reality series, can we please talk about the breaking news that broke last night?
Can I just give us a shout out to our segues this week? They're excellent.
It's like we rehearsed it.
Yeah. So this is one of my favourite stories of the week. I just got into Love Island, and there is a Dubai-based ex-cabin crew girl on Love Island. For those who aren't familiar with Love Island, do you have more of an insight for me, I think?
So I could not tell you what season Love Island is in, but last year, season 3, thanks Caitlyn, last year it blew up. So I think it was kind of one of these reality shows. It's based on an island in Majorca. And what they do is it's actually the couple who can show the public that they're in love at the end wins. But there's, I'd say about 16 people at the start of the season, and then new people come in, and then you're voted based on your couple rather than your person. And I started watching season 3, and like the world, I was glued. I wasn't looking at social media. So when it ended, I was devastated, distraught. What am I going to do with my nights? Because it was every night, and it felt like live.
How do they get that much drama per day?
Well, you have 16 people who want a bit of drama. They want the public to love them, and they're all involved in different tasks. And it sounds mindless, and it is mindless, but it's the best mindless you will find.
So, Mindless season 4. We have is it Laura, and she was a cabin crew for Emirates. Obviously, she's not anymore. Laura Anderson. Now, when she started this show, she had 900 followers on Instagram. She now, I'll just open up the page, has
drum roll.
This will shock you. Look at that.
Wow.
Read it out.
94.4k.
Yeah, nearly 100,000 followers in like 3 days of this show being on air.
That's how big the show is. Like, I'm not making a mountain out of a molehill. This show captured people's eyes and minds. I wouldn't say minds. They captured people's eyes and screen time last year. It's back again. And really interesting. I wonder if she's going to talk a bit about the Emirates experience. There's some pictures of her in her cabin crew outfit, and she is just beautiful.
It's so fun to have that Dubai thread involved in the show now. I think it's going to add a lot more fun. I was watching it last night, and it is I can imagine this being based in Dubai. It's very like, I don't know how to put this diplomatically.
Go on.
It's the kind of people who are at zero gravity on the weekends and at the Mahiki Ladies Night. These people, they're very tanned, they have very white teeth. Particularly one guy has extremely white teeth, and they keep making jokes about it, which is so funny. And they're all very svelte, and they just look like those Dubai kind of people. I
get what you're saying. Just zero gravity people, that kind of...
Yeah.
That sums it up. And how many episodes have you watched?
2.
So...
I think I think I'm 2 behind, because they come out at about midnight each night. So it's a bit late for me, so then I'm a day behind.
Can I just say what's interesting about the last season is that the main couple are not together anymore from my Instagram creeping.
Spoiler alert.
Well, from last season, but another one, Chris and Olivia, I think are still together, and they're super cute.
Do you want to know something else, D-list gossip about Laura Anderson?
Yes.
Ex-boyfriend, Dane Bowers.
Oh, that's interesting, because he has done, so our mega yacht brunch that we've hosted before, he has done the Friday DJing on that same yacht, so he's obviously over here a bit, so I can see how that might have happened. Full time.
He also loves zero gravity, according to his Instagram. Shout out to Dane Bowsy for listening. I'm just getting up the pictures, so you can stalk her, Laura, on Instagram if you really want. There are pictures. Picture of Dane Bowers. Oh no, there it is.
How far did you go down?
Right down.
Okay.
All the way. I went into the deep stalk.
Okay, so that's Laura Anderson 1X on Instagram. You can follow her. And
we'll drop the link into the article for the podcast as well if you want to check her out and do the deep stalk.
Yeah. So Friday morning when you're done with brunch, Friday morning. Okay, so that's
Love Island.
That's Love Island. That's Huda Beauty. That's a Qatar Airways guy or the Qatar Airways boss who needs to get his act together. Who needs to shut up. And we'll come back after the break to talk about fake news and school fees.
So there was big news this week, Casey, which I'm sure is a relief to you, not that you have any children.
It's a huge relief to me, but more so probably to the mums of Dubai.
And dads.
Mums and dads, of course. Gosh.
There has has been announced that school fees have been capped. There's not going to be any increase on private school fees in Dubai for the next year. So this was announced by the cabinet in a meeting on Wednesday, which is very big news for this country.
I mean, in terms of school fees and the price they charge, and I think with the KHDA ratings, schools are allowed to charge an increase if the ratings go up. So I guess if your kids are going to a certain school and they see the KHD rating go up, they're obviously, I'm sure, excited about the quality of education being recognised by the KHDA, but also a bit worried because they know that that could have meant an increase. But with these announcements, it means, nope, not this year.
I'm sure that is a relief to loads of parents, because I've heard that school fees can be equivalent to rent for the year for a family, which is absolutely astounding.
Yeah, especially from a young age. I think some people, you can plan from secondary school and upwards, but to be paying these high fees from a child, I guess from the age even from 2 or 3, because that's nursery from the age of 2 and 3 upwards to 18. It could be crippling.
And so this came with a lot of different announcements, which we've covered on the site. But there was fees for commercial entities have been cut, airline fees. I was just checking if that's hopefully that is for the passengers, not for the airlines.
I think you're hoping too much.
And there's a 4% property fee that's been waived.
That is a really interesting property fee by the Dubai Land Department that they've waived. I think that will be really, really interesting to anyone looking into purchasing a property, because part of the reason people hold back is because the initial price of properties here can look quite reasonable, but then on top of that you're adding in total about a 20% extra fees. So with this 4% gone, that could be quite interesting, I think.
It kind of comes hand in hand with the foreign ownership changes and the 10-year visa. So I imagine, in my professional real estate opinion, that people will be more inclined to buy now. So maybe this will help motivate them to buy a property market.
Yeah, exactly. I think all of the announcements that happened yesterday, and you just briefly mentioned the 10-year visa announcements that were 2 weeks ago, and also Abu Dhabi cabinets announced similar announcements to stimulate economic growth. It's all part of a wide plan across all sectors to improve the economy, which is obviously really great. Yeah.
So that's good news.
And that was breaking last night, and it came in, and I think all parents were really relieved to hear it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a nice weekend. People can spend a bit extra on breakfast or something now.
Yeah, but so this was breaking news that came in, and it came in via a government source, which, you can always accept as accurate. But different news came in of a video of a man on fire. And this happened over the course of the week. And straight away, someone mentioned Dubai Mall.
This video was absolutely terrifying. It showed what appeared to be a guy's phone exploding in his hand, and then him being on fire, running around screaming. And people were just running everywhere, trying to get away from him, and he didn't know what to do. And it was just horrific to watch.
Really scary to watch. And yeah, it's really unusual to watch his body, because I think and you might do the same in that moment, that you have that kind of sense of calm, because for a second I think he considered taking his clothes off, and then he did it. But I think that's the mind and the body trying to maybe recognize what's actually happening to him. And then he removed his clothes, and you could see everyone, like you said, frantically rushing around trying to help him. But why we bring it up now is because initially it came out and said it was in Dubai Mall, and it doesn't even look like Dubai Mall.
I thought this, but Dubai Mall's so big that I can never be 100% whether something's in it or not. And it just could have been, and there was word that it was, but Dubai police have come out and said it's absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, this was it was actually a video that was shot in a mall in Agadir in Morocco, but it just rehashes all of the fake news, and we've seen some crazy stories this year. Some kind of lighthearted, some a bit less lighthearted, and it just, for media publications, need to keep an eye, and of course the reader. So both people are kind of responsible for sharing this fake news, and it's just a reminder to everyone to not always believe what you see.
And look a little further into it. I guess there's a lot of with the age of sharing and every video going viral, there was one, do you remember the one of the girl spray painting the car in downtown?
Yeah.
And she wrote loser on the side of the car.
A supercar, I think it was, right?
Yeah. And someone filmed this and it got circulated, but very cautiously got circulated because technically she was committing a crime and you cannot publish videos of people committing crimes in the UAE because it's of the Cybercrime Act. You can, however, film people committing a crime and send it to the police and they will investigate, which actually apparently works very well. Police do action those videos sent to them via the Dubai Police app.
Yeah, but I think this is what happens because, let's say, for example, that Man on Fire video didn't get published in that much in the media here, but it spreads like wildfire on WhatsApp. So people are thinking, this is Dubai Mall, and they're believing it. And then if nothing gets said about it in the media, because of course people are being careful, then that leads to kind of inaccuracies in the story.
Yeah, so it was great that they did address it immediately and clarify. It's still a horrible, horrible thing to happen to this poor guy and to watch. He looked like he came out of it all right, though, which was a relief.
Hopefully. Yeah, it was really, really scary. And what was interesting about it is, was it a phone explosion? Was that the actual cause of the fire? Because otherwise I can't even figure out why that would happen.
That was the suspected cause, but yeah, there's no information really circulating that much about this, so it's all a bit questionable. So
I did a small little research into other fake news stories. And so you have kind of like lighthearted ones. Did you hear that Queen Elizabeth removed Obama from the royal wedding guest list?
She wouldn't dare.
Well, he wasn't actually there.
He was probably busy wakeboarding in Hawaii.
In retirement with Margot Robbie and all these people he hangs out with now.
And laughing, like throwing his head back in. Washing his hands of the whole Trump fiasco.
With Michelle.
Yeah, having a great time. She's probably doing push-ups every day to keep those amazing arms in shape.
I love those two.
Oh, they are just the best. She is. I hope she runs for president. Honestly, I'd vote for her. I'm not American, but I'd vote for her.
But I feel like but I feel like she stood by Barack Obama and she did her own thing throughout the whole role of his presidency, that she has nearly sat in that chair. Like she worked non-stop for 7 years, because they say, I watched the Netflix show with Barack Obama. Oh, is it My Next Guest by David Letterman? It's called. And they had Barack Obama on it recently, and it was really, really interesting. And one thing he said was, she doesn't get paid, but she's still doing a full-time job for X number of years. And I think that's really interesting because, yeah, we would all support her to do the role of president. She's already done it 10 times over.
But she doesn't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. On the subject of Netflix, are you watching anything cool recently?
No, nothing cool.
Okay.
Right into The Good Wife, but something's happened with it that's too dramatic, so I've had to have a break. But did you hear about Brooklyn Nine-Nine? We're probably a bit late to the party on this, but...
You know what? I've heard people talk about it, but I haven't actually sat down and watched it.
So this is a great series. It's a comedy one. It's got Terry Crews, who I love the most. It's got Andy Samberg, and you'll have to forgive me, I can't rattle off the other names. Melissa Fumero, and it's really funny. And Fox was producing it, and they cancelled it. And Twitter lost its mind,
as Twitter tends to do.
And the reaction was so overwhelming that another network, I think it was NBC, picked up the show. They were like, this can't be cancelled, we've got to keep going. And so they picked up the show, and it was the power of social media that saved that show and got it back.
Excuse me, and it's gone on to Netflix now?
It's on Netflix, but not the new seasons.
Okay, so that's a recommendation from you for the week.
Also,
for the weekend ahead.
Also, Dynasty is a great one, but I'm very frustrated because I'm watching, you get rations, you get one episode per week, and then the season ends, and I have to wait 6 months for the cliffhanger, and this is exactly why I watch things 5 years after they're finished.
I'm sorry, I turned on Dynasty, and it's short spurts, and it's Texas, and they're living on ranches, and they're old school oil money. Atlanta. And they're old school oil money, right?
Yeah.
And can you just say it's trash, but it's the best trash?
It's like Days of Our Lives of Bold and the Beautiful, but with less incest.
Yeah, unless back in the day you'd have an audience like laughing or clapping
Yeah,
or something.
laughter.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't have that, so it's a little bit more modern.
I never had that on soap operas though. That was on sitcoms like Friends.
Okay. Well, even so, if you're
It's a good dramatic watch. It's like Bold and the Beautiful meets Gossip Girl. I think one of the producers did work on Gossip Girl and is now on Dynasty. So it is that it's dramatic.
and you said you're left on a cliffhanger, but there's 1 or 2 seasons already. So if you're just
one season and the end of season 1 is a cliffhanger, so wait until October to get into season 1 if you haven't watched it already, so that you can stream right into season 2. It's killing me away.
okay, can I give a shout out for one show?
Of course.
Safe. Have you heard of it?
Right, so you're talking about this. Tell us about it.
So it's only 1 season, but it is, you'll turn on one episode and immediately you're hooked. It's set in an estate in the UK, and it's, I won't give anything away because the whole story kind of snowballs and it's really, really interesting. And it's a thriller. It could have been set to a book because so much goes on, and it's just, this is your weekend. If you were going to Netflix and chill, give 8 seasons of Safe a go. It's amazing.
8 seasons.
8 episodes.
It is the perfect time of year to really binge watch TV shows, right? Because it's hot outside, so you don't feel like you're missing any outdoor activities, and there's not much going on in the city. It's kind of slowing down. We're cruising into school holiday mode.
Exactly.
Shortly, so it is perfect time to sit on the couch, just binge watch. Safe.
Yeah, and we're working less hours. If anyone else is staying up a little bit later, this is your go-to.
Get home at 4:30 and just watch TV right until midnight.
Well, you see, I mean, like, it's so hot. So what else are you doing, people of Dubai? What are you doing right now? Because what are you planning to do for the whole summer? There's only so much vacation time we can take.
Well, tell you what I'm planning to do for the summer. World Cup. Going to all the bars.
Yes.
Not to watch the games, to watch the guys.
Or to meet guys.
Yeah, so my friend has actually booked a table for the first day of World Cup because at a sports bar, because she was like, there's going to be guys everywhere. I don't care about football. I just want to see the guys.
Does she have any idea who's playing?
I think it's Saudi, Russia.
Okay, well, we'll have to go and watch Saudi, I think.
Yeah, we're going to cheer it. We do have Lovin Saudi, so we are pro-Saudi, but Russia's the host. I learned this all last week.
It'll be hard to play against the host team, I think, in first round.
Yeah, host team tends to be a favourite, so...
Okay, well, good luck to all the Saudi supporters travelling to Russia, because I feel like that will be madness, that first match.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
So nice.
See the boys.
And we'll be covering it extensively. We'll have a bit of football knowledge from experts. That will not be myself and Kate, so don't worry about that. And then, we'll cover all the kind of action on and off the pitch. The fun stuff.
The terrible and great haircuts.
It's just like one of these things, though, that there's such a huge buzz surrounding the World Cup. Whether or not you like the football, it's just one of the things that it grips the entire world, not just a nation. And even if your team hasn't managed to get into the playoffs, Ireland, shout out.
Australia did. Woo!
I didn't even know Australia had a football team.
Yeah, we've got every kind of team. We're just natural athletes. We didn't even need a proper team. We just threw a few Olympians in there, and we were CrossFitters, a few rugby boys. Put it all together there.
Okay. Well, I look forward to watching there first. See, this is the thing. Even if your team managed to get in, if they're good standard or not, they still have 3 matches. So it's like if your team is in, then you have got about a week of super exciting football to look forward to, or 2 weeks.
1 week.
1 week, 2 weeks. But it's the whole thing that you're going to buy the flags, you're going to wear the jerseys, you're going to go out, you're going to go to the bars and just catch it on big screens.
Be cheering for since you're looking.
It is a toss-up between Saudi and Egypt. I mean, Mo Salah.
Yeah, he's just a hero, isn't he?
But that's because I'm here and that there's going to be crowds watching, getting excited about the regional matches and teams. So absolutely, can't wait.
And they're kind of the underdogs, I think, when you look at the other teams and just the heritage of it all and stuff. So it'll be good to see Egypt and Saudi kicking some butt.
Exactly. And when an underdog gets through, it's just, you cannot beat that. You cannot beat the magic that is football when someone gets through unexpectedly. So fingers crossed for both of those teams.
So we did get a bit of World Cup talk in there in the end.
Yeah.
But have a great brunch if you're brunching, or a fantastic TV binge if you are binging today.
Yeah, safe.
That's okay. Yes,
Okay, guys, have a great weekend and see you next week. Chat to you next week.
Guys.